Canada just posted its biggest quarterly export number ever, and for once, it's actually not thanks to the States. Exports surged to $214 billion in Q1, with huge gains in energy and auto parts, and exports to nations outside the US jumped by nearly 25% in March alone. With more trade partners at play and a rare $1.2 billion surplus, Canada is proving that it can diversify without tanking its economy or relying on America.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
It's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
Ever wondered how Canada has been coping since Trump came with his tariffs? Well, fast forward to 2 months later, and guess what? Canada has not just been coping, Canada has been thriving. Today, we are diving into how those tariffs sparked a Canadian comeback no one saw coming, and I'll be reacting to some wild takes and videos that tell the story. So let's go.
Canada has completely replaced its lost exports to the US with new exports to the rest of the world. Canada's exports to the US just dropped 6.6%, which is the sharpest decline since the pandemic. But instead of taking a hit, Canada has seemed to find a new market for its goods. You guessed it, by ramping up exports to the rest of the world. According to Statistics Canada, shipments to non-US markets surged nearly 25%, fueled by booming demand for gold and crude oil. So while the US is tightening trade, Canada is cashing in elsewhere. So who's really taking the hit here? Canada is moving its exports to countries who are willing to pay top dollar, while the US could be losing a top supplier. Meanwhile, imports to Canada also dropped nearly 3%, a potential red flag for weakening domestic demand. But the bottom line is Canada is proving that it can pivot. But of course, with US demand slipping, the question is, can it keep this up long term?
As you all know from watching my previous videos, of course, the US earlier this year dropped a 25% tariff on Canadian steel, aluminium, and auto parts. Same game, different month. The message, either fold or face the consequences. But did Canada fold? Absolutely not. Canada came back swinging. 29.8 billion worth of retaliatory tariffs on United States goods. But here is the twist. It didn't break Canada. It boosted the country.
Hello, folks. So some potentially fantastic news for Canada. Canada and the United Kingdom have entered negotiations for a bilateral free trade agreement between the two countries. It's called the Canada-UK Trade Continuity Agreement. Agreement has apparently already been reached that there will be zero tariffs between the two countries. And so this is exciting news, and we'll see what happens with this. Folks, the United Kingdom, population-wise, is approximately twice the size of Canada. It's a huge market for Canadian goods already. To have a free trade agreement with the United Kingdom would be massive and a game changer, especially in light of American aggression towards Canada right now. We continue to look for new opportunities, new markets, and new friends.
Canada just posted its biggest quarterly export number ever, and for once, it's actually not thanks to the States. Exports surged to $214 billion in Q1, with huge gains in energy and auto parts, and exports to nations outside the US jumped by nearly 25% in March alone. With more trade partners at play and a rare $1.2 billion surplus, Canada is proving that it can diversify without tanking its economy or relying on America.
Since the trade war tensions, Canada's exports surged to record highs. In Q1 of 2025 alone, exports jumped by 6%, with energy, auto parts, and tech leading the charge. Canada even expanded trade to Europe, Asia, and even Africa. And guess what? It's not just energy anymore. Canadian products are in demand globally. Canada's steel and aluminium exports, they bounce back fast. Canada shifted focus to the EU, South Korea, and other markets. And Canada's GDP is up. Jobs in manufacturing up. National pride, you already know this, through the roof. Meanwhile, Canadian exports are setting records, while the US struggles with inflation and supply chain woes. And sure, Canada is the one sinking. Okay. Canada just signed trade agreements with Europe, and Asia is loving their tech. But sure, Tell us how much Canada needs the US.
When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
No matter what you think of Carney, see this statement, it's iconic. Carney made it clear to Trump that Canada is not for sale. He made his stance clear, no bluffing, no backpedaling. And that message wasn't just for the US, it was for the whole world. Canada is standing tall no matter what comes their way.
One thing about Canada, they're going to fucking rally. Everywhere you go now in the supermarket has these tags to say if something is made in Canada or made by a Canadian company, because then it's not being impacted by the tariffs. When they said fuck the US, they meant it, because everywhere, you look everywhere. I, for one, I fucking love it. It's great. Fuck Donald Trump.
But this goes beyond trade and tariffs. This is about Canada's identity, about standing up for ourselves and saying we don't need to depend on anyone else to succeed. And look at Canada now. Canada has not just survived, but has thrived. Canadian businesses are going international. They're investing in green technology and diversifying trade. Innovation is at an all-time high, and there are certain trends, not just following them. So next time someone says tariffs crush Canada, show them the receipts. Canada is not just surviving, Canada is booming. So what do you think? Was this a blessing in disguise? Drop your thoughts below. Are you still boycotting US products? Have you noticed more Canadian-made goods in your stores? And if you love this video, hit like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs a little Canadian pride today. So YouTube thinks you will like this video over here. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Au revoir.